Jade Simmons, and we're back for yet another episode of Emerge Already, tips to lessen the plight of the aspiring concert artist. I know if you're like me, you like to be in charge of things. You want to be the boss. And earlier in Emerge Already, in one of the episodes, I taught you how to be the boss of your own art. But tonight we're going to be talking about being the boss of your own career. That's a whole different prospect, and warning, no euphemisms tonight. This is a hard job. It is not for the faint-hearted, but I can also promise you that if you do a good job at managing your own career, it's also one of the most rewarding things you can do for yourself as an artist. Okay, so I've warned you partially, but let me go ahead and say this is a full-time job. If you're thinking about managing your own career, you've got to worry about things like booking shows, promoting those shows, managing contracts, managing contacts, and then you've got to find time to practice and be ready for a good performance. The way I see it, you could spend 24 hours a day practicing, and then you sound really awesome and you show up and there's nobody in the hall to hear you play. Or you could spend 24 hours a day promoting those concerts. You could show up, have a jam-packed hall, but then you sound like because you haven't really been practicing. So the key here is going to be balance. Probably the number one mistake that most artists make when they try to manage themselves is that they make a mistake of joining together the idea of the emotional power of making music with the business aspect, and you have to separate the two if you're going to be successful at this. Now, once you've got your business hat on, the first thing we've got to do is assess the viability of a career in your current city of residence. In order to make the most of all the opportunities in the area around you, you're going to have to start to find ways to exploit your full artistic potential. If you're a great writer, if you can give lectures and seminars, if you can give master classes, if you can conduct outreach in area schools, this is going to become a part of your entire package as an artist. You need to start thinking of yourself as a package deal. You're not just a singer. You're not simply a visual artist. You are this well-rounded artist who comes with a variety of products that's going to allow you to make a larger impact in the community you're going to. And along with all of this, these activities that you're doing are going to get the media more interested in what it is that you have to offer as an artist. If everything you're doing is just about you, promoting your CD or promoting your concerts, the media is not so interested in that, especially if you're basically a no-name emerging artist. But if you, as this no-name emerging artist, is out there in the world giving back, that's something that makes the media take note. Now, this next point to me is a no-brainer. I shouldn't have to mention it, but it looks like I do, and that's that you have to have a website. And this website needs to be where we go to find out about who you are, where you are, what you do, what you offer, where you're going to be. It should be intriguing, it should show your personality, and as every web designer will tell you, it should be easy to follow. The layout should be easy to navigate. This website is going to be the primary point of contact for people who are trying to get to know who you are. Now, when you have laid all of this groundwork, when everything is in place, you need to understand that timing is everything. Now, I'm talking about timing in terms of making sure that you plan your jump-off point. You don't want to just jump out without any plan of attack. You need to know where it is you want to go. You need to be setting up a groundwork, building a foundation of resources, and also building a very concrete strategy about where you want to go in the next 1 to 5 years. Next, you have to understand that timing is critical when it comes to when you're going to contact the various presenters. Think of the concert season as like a school year, starting in August, September, the main season ending around May, and then there's a summer session that usually goes on from June all the way into beginning of August. You need to think of things almost a year in advance. I say the best time to contact presenters is between the time of September to about March, because by early spring, they're going to be rolling out their wonderful lineup of all the great artists they're going to present for the next season. So in order for you to catch that boat, you've got to start contacting them right now. During this period while you're still contemplating and figuring out exactly how you want to go about managing your own career, you need to be building a groundwork. And that groundwork is going to include people as easy as your friends and family. And you're going to have friends that all know places where you should be playing, and that's a great start. If you've been in the business for a while, you need to make sure that while you're performing now under your current management, that you're keeping these contacts and building a rapport with presenters who have already presented you. Because if they like you, they might want to re-engage. Also, get ready to contact former teachers, different arts organizations in your area, and former directors of competitions that you may have entered. If you made a splash at a competition, even if you didn't take home the top prize, most likely the director remembers you and might want to give you a hand when it comes to looking for engagements in his or her area. And finally, you want to make up a list of viable presenters. So pace yourself. Start out by reaching out to presenters who are the most likely to engage you. Then you want to think a little bit more like how the pop and the hip-hop world thinks when it comes to making a name for yourself. You think about rappers who've made it to the big time. They've all started out in some city somewhere, and they hustled in their own area first. So that city got to know them, and then they became huge in that city, and then they became huge in that region, and then they were able to make more of a name for themselves and approach big name managers and big name record labels. So think in terms of starting out locally, making a splash regionally, and then eventually making the leap to contacting national presenters. And now it's time to reach out and make contact with arts presenters. I believe very strongly in the power of electronic media and being able to send people what they need immediately through email. But I do think it is critical to have a hard copy press piece as well. Now, when you have both of these things ready to go, I suggest very strongly that you first send out an email to let the presenter know that you're going to be sending them something in the mail. Maybe put a link to your website in that email so that they can get to know you before your piece comes in the mail. Have them looking forward to receiving your materials. Now, whether or not they respond to that email, go ahead and send them a hard copy press kit. And then a few days later, especially if you've gotten a positive response via email, give them a call. See if they've received your materials and what the prospects look like for presenting you in a future season. Finally, email once more and let them know that you appreciated the fact that they took time to take your call and that you look forward to what the future may possibly hold. Now, the thing about all this is even after you've spent the time and the money reaching out to multitudes of presenters and different resources and different contacts, sometimes it takes quite a bit of time to hear back from them and even a longer period of time to actually see the engagement become a reality. So what's going to be required of you is not just follow-up, but perseverance and patience. And know that even if you send out 100 different mailers and only 10 of those actually called you back and only 5 of those seriously said they were interested and only 3 of those actually booked you, that's 3 more concerts than you had yesterday. And with that opportunity, you have a chance to make an impact in 3 different communities, and that's a very powerful opportunity to have. And if you do a bang-up job, I can almost promise you that they will want to have you back in the next season or the season after that. So now you have 3 engagements lined up for a future season, and you can focus on building that calendar. It is a time-consuming process. You want to be prepared for that, and you want to stay positive, because if this is what you're meant to be doing, it's going to work out. So while you're waiting, be productive in that waiting period. I call it the seed planting period. So while you plant all those opportunities and wait for them to bloom, you should be making sure that you're making the most of your time, doing all the things we've talked about. You want to make sure that you're being as productive as possible, that you're building your artistic identity in your local area, that you're about to reach out and make as much of an impact as you can while you wait for that phone to ring. And when it does, you're going to be ready to go. So, as I warned you, this can be a long process and you can wait for quite a while to see things happen. But what I can promise you is that you won't have to wait too long before you can get more tips to lessen the plight of the aspiring concert artist. See you next week, right here on Emerge Already.